to a deep dive into the world of international trade policy. In today's globalist economy, the flow of goods and services across borders is what power nation. But this flow is without rules. Today we're going to explore the various strategies government use to manage their trade, and we'll see why these policies are so crucial for a country's economic health. So, what exactly is an international trade policy? Simply put, it refers to the effort a government makes to regulate export and import. The primary objective of these policies are to protect domestic industry, stabilize local market, and strengthen a nation's position in global trade. Think of it as a country economic, defense, and offense strategy all rolled into one. Let's start with export policy. One of the most common tools here is the use of premium or subsidies. This is when a government provides financial support to producers who meet specific production targets. Why do they do this? The main goal is to boost a country's export volume and support the long-term sustainability of domestic industry. This export premium essentially lower the selling price of a product abroad, which make it more competitive in the international market. A great example of this is seen in the agricultural or fisheries sector, where government might offer subsidies to farmers or fishermen to increase their output for export. Next, we have global pricing strategies, which can be a bit controversial. This brings us to a term you've probably heard before: dumping. Dumping occurs when a company sells its goods in a foreign country at a price lower than what they charge in their home market. There are several reasons a company might engage in the practice. They might be trying to gain market share, or they could simply be clearing out excess stock. In some cases, it's a more aggressive tactic to outcome foreign rival. The presentation outlines three types of dumping. First, sporadic dumping happens because of a temporary surplus of a product. Second, predatory dumping is a more serious strategy at eliminating foreign competitor. And finally, percentage dumping is a long-term strategy to dominate a market. While some policies encourage export, others do the exact opposite. Government may outright prohibit the export of certain commodities to protect their own domestic needs. The objectives here are clear. They want to prevent local shortage of key goods, curb illegal smuggling, and encourage domestic processing. A strategy also known as industrial downstreaming. A very relevant example is Indonesian bet on raw nickel export, which was implemented to encourage local processing and has led to significant growth in the country's domestic industry. Now, let's talk about the other side of the coin, imports. One of the most classic trade policies is the use of import tariffs, which are essential tax on foreign goods entering a country. The main objective of tariff is to protect local industry from being undercut by cheap foreign goods and to promote fair competition. The presentation highlights a few different types of tariff. A single tariff applies the same rate to all countries. A general or conventional tariff varies the tax rate based on the country of origin. And a professional tariff offers a lower or even zero tax rate to goods from specific partner country, such as those within the ASEAN trade bloc. Beyond tariff, government can also limit import using quota. An import quota is maximum limit on the quantity of goods that can be imported during a specific period. The purpose is to stabilize domestic price and protect local producers from being overwhelmed by a flood of foreign products. There are two main types of quotas. An absolute quota is a fixed quantity limit, for example, allowing only 100 tons of sugar to be imported per quarter. A tariff rate quota is a hybrid approach. It allows in certain amount of a product to be imported at a lower tariff rate. But any quantity beyond the limit is subject to a much higher tariff. Now, a country cannot always just rely on tariff and quota. In fact, many countries use other, more subtle methods to control imports. These are known as notive tariff barriers, and they are essentially any trade restriction that is not a tariff. They can be even more effective at limiting trade than a simple tax. Some common examples include bans or complex licensing requirements for certain products, health and safety standards that are incredibly strict and difficult for foreign companies to meet, stricter custom procedures that can cause long delay and increase costs for imports, and local content requirements which demand that a certain percentage of a product component must be sourced from the domestic market. While many policies focus on protection domestic market, there has been a massive global shift toward the opposite. Free trade, this is where government from agreements or free trade agreements to international leaders or eliminate trade barrier among member countries. The main idea behind FTAs is to increase trade volume, lower costs for customers, and boost economic growth. A great example is the ASEAN Free Trade Area, AFTA, which has been instrumental in reducing tariffs among Southeast Asian nations. However, it's not without its challenges. Critics argue that FTAs can sometimes lead to job losses in domestic industry that cannot compete with cheaper foreign goods. It's a constant balancing act between protecting local interests and embracing the benefit of a global market. In all of this complex web of policies, who acts as the river? This is where the World Trade Organization or the WTO come in. The WTO is an international body that works to promote free trade by reducing barriers and providing a platform for resolving trade disputes between member countries. It establishes a framework of rules that all member countries are expected to follow. While not a perfect system, the WTO plays a crucial role in preventing trade war and ensuring a more stable and predictable global trading environment. So, to conclude, international trade policies are not just bureaucratic hurdles, they are vital strategic tools for protection and growing national economy. Every policy we've discussed, from export incentive and dumping to bans, tariff, quota, and now free trade agreements, and the WTO has its own specific goals and comes with a set of trade-offs. These policies are a constant balancing act between protection and free trade. This brings us to a few thought-provoking questions for reflection. How can a country like Indonesia leverage both potential and free trade policies to achieve sustainable economic growth? what is the long-term impact of non-tariff barrier on global supply chains, and what role does the WTO play in ensuring that policies are fair for both developing and developing nations. So guys, the material is finished. Thank you for your attention and see you on the next video. Goodbye.